Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jacob Licklider, and I am doing my reaction a day late for Knock Knock, the fourth episode of Series 10. Now, Knock Knock is one of the episodes I was looking forward to for three reasons. For two reasons. One, it includes a new writer, Mike Bartlett, which is a 50-50 chance of being good or bad, and Doctor Who is definitely always in need of some new talent for as a writing staff in general. And two, because David Suchet is in the episode, and David Suchet is an excellent actor. I love him in Poirot, and he's just hearing that he was going to be in this got me excited to hear what was gonna be happening. So, and I'm recording this on a Sunday because I just couldn't get to watch the episode when it aired. This episode, it seemed to be it has a lot of the same problems that Thin Ice had. First and foremost, the supporting cast is very, very weak. The supporting cast is mainly of five quote unquote friends of Bill. I mean, I guess Bill doesn't know them, so we're seeing it through Bill's eyes. You could make that argument. It just seems weak because you don't really. I mean, Bill's closest friend, I think her name's like Shrina or something. She's the one that's at least semi-memorable overall. But, yeah. Other than that, there really wasn't anything about the supporting cast. Though I think, a lot of that is down to 45 minutes syndrome, but what I think is that this episode suffers actually the least from 45 minutes syndrome because it tells a complete story in 45 minutes. And it really does, actually, this time we get a totally fleshed out villain who we understand his motivations for being a villain, even if those motivations are a little sappy. Basically, the plot is Bill and a bunch of her friends move into this old house where the rent is cheap, it's big, it's creek, it's wood, but there's something in the house with them. The first night they move in, everything seals up, and Woodlice starts making people go into the walls, and it's a pretty intriguing plot. I was personally hoping that the Tractators would be the villain, but it's actually something different. They're the Dryads, as the Doctor calls them, which is, of course, the name of in Greek mythology is wood nymphs and wood spirit, which, that actually kind of works here very well because that is sort of what they do. And, of course, you have the big twist at the end, that is that, in the tower, the landlord is keeping his daughter, Eliza, who's been turned to wood by the Dryads because she had an illness, and it's keeping her alive. And two, it's not actually his daughter; she's his mother. So it's a very interesting sort of idea. I mean, it feels very much like Mr. Freeze, and I really quite like it. For the most part, the landlord, played by David Suchet, is just an excellent character. I mean, he's sympathetic. He's obviously made himself grow cold just from having to lure kids to the house every 20 years to try to keep his mother alive and lie to her. So he just exudes this air of creepiness. Like, he appears and disappears, which that's never really explained. That is one little complaint. His appearance and redisappearance, that's never... I mean, is that really brought up? It could be that there are passages. I mean, it's never even established. I mean, simply establishing that he lived in the house possibly would do it. And of course, there's a big deal made about the tower, even though, and there are a lot of Chekhov's guns in this one, where you have something mentioned early on that comes into play later, which seems a bit tropey for my liking too much. It just seems like it's trying to make the episode be like a trope. But yeah, another big complaint I really had is that for the first 20 minutes or so, Peter Capaldi was really weak. He seems a bit bored, and he was acting like, oh, I'm crazy. And Bill was like, oh, he's my grandfather, which I don't get. Is that like, was she trying to act like she was embarrassed or something? But, I mean, I don't know. But speaking of Pearl Mackie as Bill, one of the things that she does do really well in this episode is there's this little scene where she's moving in and she takes out a picture of her mother, and she has it framed, and she sort of talks to it, which, I mean, I just found that kind of touching, kind of something someone would do if they never knew their mother, so try to get to know them by just talking to a photograph. It's sort of like, it's kind of like dealing with grief, but not really totally dealing with grief per se. I don't know. It's just an idea that I quite like, and it works for Bill as a character and makes Bill feel more fleshed out. Um, which again, when you have, I also have to say, the direction in this episode is excellent. Like, Bill Anderson, he's much better here in this big creepy old house than he was last week. Last week wasn't bad direction. Just this one's a lot better in my opinion. Like, it's trying this one just really builds up on a lot of the tension, and we get to see like this house be all creepy and big and full of creaks and shrieks, which I like the way the house is designed and sort of created overall. I also really like the design on Eliza, the woman who is made out of wood. She looks. It looks. I don't think it's done with CGI. I really hope that's done practically because it seems like it's a practical effect, or maybe a mix. Another complaint I have to say, though, there was one of the, I have to say, one of the characters, I think his name was Harry. He he's the one other thing that really got under my skin, mainly because the actor he didn't do a good job really acting. I mean, he delivered the lines in a perfectly serviceable way. I mean, nothing to make you feel like this is a real character, and you just gotta really feel for this guy. But he sort of bulged his eyes and sort of opened his mouth very wide, and just there was just something about it about the performance that I couldn't really get behind. But yeah, other than that, a lot of the stuff was good. Again, David Suchet, Pearl Mackie, just the Dryads in general were all really, really good ideas. And what's interesting though I find is that while this definitely does a sort of a type of haunted house story, it doesn't really it has the atmosphere of something new and fresh, which I guess makes up for some of the flaws. Even though it's a bit formulaic, the monster feels new, and the acting makes the villain feel new. It just all sort of comes together in what can only be said as just a pretty decent script. So I think I'm gonna have to give Knock Knock, because it's just as good as Thin Ice, and I gave Thin Ice a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna keep Knock Knock with 7.5 out of 10 tentatively, just because it seems like it's just a little better, but it seems like we're increasing quality. Next week, of course, is Oxygen. Did I mention, if it isn't John Sims' Master in the vault or Missing in the vault, I don't know what I'll do, but it seems like that's really what Moffat's going for here. But next week is Oxygen, which is written by Jimmy Matheson. Of course, that will be out next week. But before then, I will have, of course, the Marco Polo reaction. I'm actually about to watch episode 5 of Marco Polo now. But thanks for watching. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you Monday or Tuesday with Marco Polo. All right.